You think your home is your safe space, right? Your sanctuary. But what if I told you there's an invisible war happening inside, every single day? It's your technology versus the environment, and the main battleground, well, it's your air conditioning system. We're going to dive into this unseen battle, and we're starting at a place where the fight is especially brutal, South Florida.
And look, that's not just some dramatic saying. It is a stone-cold fact, especially in places like South Florida. When we're talking about a place like Hialeah Gardens, this isn't just a minor fight. No, it's an all-out siege. Your home's most important system is under a constant, relentless attack.
Okay, so who's the enemy here? This breaks it down perfectly. We're talking an average summer temp of 92 degrees, humidity at a sticky 80%, and a heat index that makes it feel like 105. And you have to understand, these aren't just numbers you glance at on a weather app. Nope. These are daily attacks, day in and day out, pushing your AC to its absolute breaking point. And you know, the AC's job is way bigger than just keeping you cool. Think of it more like a defender, a guardian for your home. It's actively fighting off the moisture that would otherwise turn into mold in your walls. It's filtering out that corrosive salt in the air that just loves to eat away at metal. It's basically preventing your home from slowly being ruined by humidity. Seriously, it's your first and last line of defense.
But look, after taking a beating for thousands and thousands of hours, even the toughest systems start to crack. So what happens when that defense finally starts to fail?
Well, these are the SOS signals, the calls for help. You know what I'm talking about. The AC starts blowing warm air, or you see it leaking water. Maybe there's some weird smells coming from the vents, or a rattling sound that just won't stop. Or hey, what about that energy bill that just goes through the roof out of nowhere? Every single one of these is a symptom. A huge red flag that your system is in deep trouble and a major failure could be right around the corner. All right, so we get the warning signs, but the real question is, why is this stuff happening? Let's get into the science of it and really break down the environmental culprits that are targeting your system. And here they are, the attackers. You've got that corrosive salt air just eating away at the metal coils. You've got that insane humidity, which is basically the perfect breeding ground for algae. Then bam, power surges from all those summer lightning storms, frying the sensitive electronics. And don't forget about things like limestone dust from nearby construction, or the fact that your attic can get up to a scorching 140 degrees. It's like each one of these things has a specific job, a specific component to target, and they all work together to bring the whole system down. Let's just zoom in on one of those culprits for a second. Algae. Get this, your AC can pull up to 20 gallons of water out of the air every single day. Now that water needs to drain somewhere, right? But in that super humid Florida climate, algae just loves to grow inside the drain line. It creates a clog, a dam, and suddenly those 20 gallons of water have nowhere to go, except back inside your house, flooding the system and eventually dripping right through your ceiling. It's a total disaster, and it all starts with a tiny, slimy organism. And it's not just about things breaking down, it's also about what's being wasted. Think about this. In a lot of older homes, the ductwork is falling apart. You could be leaking as much as 30% of that nice, expensive, cool air right into your attic. An attic that's, by the way, a blistering 140 degrees. You are literally paying to air condition a space that's hotter than an oven while your actual living room is struggling to stay cool. It's just money vanishing into thin air.
This right here shows you why timing is absolutely everything. Let's look at this tale of two failures. Okay, you have a capacitor. It's a small part that helps start the big compressor. It starts to go bad. If you catch it early, boom, it's about a $200 fix. Not great, but manageable. But what if you ignore it? Well, that little struggling part will eventually destroy the entire compressor, the literal heart of your AC system. And that's a $2,000 replacement. The cost of just waiting and hoping it goes away is 10 times higher. 10 times.
So, all of this leads to a huge decision, a crossroads that pretty much every homeowner has to face at some point. When your system has a major failure, do you try to repair it, or is it time to just replace the whole thing?
Let's make this real. I want you to imagine your AC system is, say, 15 years old, and it just has a massive breakdown. This is a super common problem, right? The question is, what's the smart move here? What makes the most sense for your house and your wallet?
Okay, this chart really lays out the pros and cons. Look, repairing seems cheaper at first, right? Maybe $1,800 for a new compressor. The problem is, you're putting a brand new part into a machine that's still full of other 15-year-old parts just waiting to fail next. Now, replacing the whole system, yeah, it costs more upfront, but you get lower energy bills, a warranty that lasts 10 years or more, and it uses modern, cheaper refrigerant. It's really a choice between a short-term Band-Aid and a long-term solution, and long-term peace of mind.
And if you do decide to go with a new system, you gotta understand this is not like swapping out a toaster oven. Especially in a place like Miami-Dade County, putting in a new HVAC system is a really complex job. It's a highly regulated operation with incredibly strict building codes that are all there to protect your home.
And I mean strict. We're talking about codes that say the outdoor unit has to be anchored down to survive 175-mile-per-hour hurricane winds. They demand secondary drain pans with special switches to prevent those indoor floods we talked about earlier. There are rules for how refrigerant is handled to protect the environment. Literally everything, from how they calculate the right size unit for your house to what kind of tape they can use on the ducts, is regulated for safety and efficiency.
So is there a way to just avoid all this drama? To avoid these catastrophic failures in the first place? Yes. The key is to stop playing defense and start playing offense. You have to be proactive. Let's talk about how you can stay ahead of the heat and actually win this long war.
And your single best strategy is called preventative maintenance. The idea is so simple, but so powerful. It's basically a series of scheduled checks designed to do one thing: find those small, hidden problems, like that little failing capacitor, before they get a chance to explode into a full-blown, catastrophic emergency right in the middle of a brutal heat wave.
So what does that look like? Well, a proper annual tune-up is a deep dive into your system. A good technician is going to clean the outdoor coils that get clogged with dirt and dust. They'll check the refrigerant levels, test all the electrical connections, and, super important, clear out those drain lines that get choked with algae. If you think about it, every single item on this checklist is designed to fight back against one of those environmental attacks we talked about earlier.
When you boil it all down, it comes to this. Regular, professional service is the #1 thing you can do to win this unseen war inside your home. It makes your equipment last longer, it keeps it running efficiently, and, this is the big one, it prevents those miserable, expensive, and always at the worst possible time breakdowns.
And that leaves us with one final question for you. You know the enemy now. You know the stakes. So I want you to think for a second about the single hardest working machine in your home. Is that system, your home's most important defender, really prepared for the battle it has to fight every single day?